Hello, good morning. Welcome to my cozy reading day and specifically my vlogmas inspired cozy reading day. I have been loving vlogmas this year again. There's a couple of channels I've been watching every video from and it was so much fun, and what I thought I would do, I would sort of pick different bits from their vlogmases and put them in my cozy reading day. That just seems like a recipe for success. So the vlogmases I've been watching were Sean and Bert over at Storytime, Heather of Too Many Heathers, Karen of The Roving Reader, and Jenny. Not sure what her channel name is. She didn't do like daily vlogs, but I did love what she did put out. So yeah, that's the plan for today. First I'm gonna make some coffee. Obviously Sean always did her coffee updates as well, so I'm gonna talk to you about my coffee. So I don't have a coffee advent calendar, but I do have a subscription to a coffee company. So that's basically like an advent calendar year round, because I get sent like a different coffee every month. So it comes in like a flat pack that you put in like a flat cardboard box, and then you also get a little card with some information and the farmer. So this month we've got Carlos from Peru, and I'm going to do a little bit of spot translation for you. So this is coffee from a region that borders the Andes and the Amazon forest, and what they do is they plant different kinds of trees between the coffee bushes, so that creates a more diverse and balanced ecosystem and fits perfectly in the indigenous culture, in which Pachamama, the mother of earth and goddess of fertility, plays a central role. So yeah, that sounds like something we love. And then the notes are milk chocolate, hazelnut and caramel. So yeah, that's the coffee of today. Thought I would have a little slice of Stollen as well. So I don't know how this is in other countries, but over here you are very much part of one of either teams. So what I do is I put on some butter, and then I get the, is it marzipan? I don't think it's marzipan, that's like in the middle. Scoop it out and then spread it over the rest of it. So that is one option. You could also like leave that in and then have like one giant bite of marzipan, which is not marzipan because I can't remember the word for it. One bite of that at the end. So, but yeah, I spread it out so I have a little bit everywhere. So that's gonna be pretty delicious. And then got some coffee. There we go. Cheers. Good morning. So what I wanted to do as well is tell you a little bit about my Christmas box. I got this idea from Jenny. She went traveling for work during December, and she made like a little package for herself for a cozy reading night on the go. So she had like a little pack with like snacks and a book and like some cozy bits and bobs. So yeah, so I thought that was such a good idea. So I got myself a box as well, and I've been putting things in there to enjoy on this day. So it is right over here. And let me just go through the things I've got. First, I got a CD. Now, Bertie has been talking a lot about his CD collection and organizing them and talking about his favorite albums of the year. So that totally inspired me to go to a record store and I picked up this Nightwish CD. I haven't listened to Nightwish in years and years and years, but for some reason in December I totally got into it again. So I'm hoping to listen to some of this later today, you know, when I need a break from reading, and hopefully none of my neighbors are home, because it is the kind of music that needs to be played kind of loud. So yeah, I've got a CD. I've got a new pair of socks. I got these on Etsy. So they're just hand knitted socks, and I really liked this color. It reminded me of the Northern Lights. I also have a bag of tea. This is milky oolong tea, which I love, but I haven't had for a very long time as well. Then I also have a huge big Christmas mug for those cups of tea. Gonna be, I love the shape of this, I love how big it is, and I'm gonna have a lot of cozy tea in this one. Got some chocolates. These Lindor chocolate balls, which are the actual best. I've got a new pair of flannel pajamas, which are super soft and cozy, so I'm gonna change into that when I finish my coffee. And then lastly, I've got books. So this is the book I picked out to read sort of in the Christmas period, or like between Christmas and New Year. This is Stolen by Ann-Helén Laestadius. It is set in, I think, Sweden, but specifically in like the northern region of Sweden, like above the Arctic Circle. And yeah, I think it's going to be a perfect winter read. And then last but not least, this will be no surprise to you if you've watched Anwen's favorite books of the year, because she said David Walliams is where it's at if you want to read some cool kids book, and she read 2 of the World Words series. I think she read the World Words Pets and the World Words Kids, and I've got the World Words Parents from the library. And I think this will be a lot of fun to dip in and out of today as well. So yeah, that was everything that was in my cozy reading day box. I think these will be the perfect ingredients for a very cozy day today. Thought it was time for a reading update. By the way, these pajamas are the actual coziest. They're so soft, and also the sleeves are long. Usually when I've got like these type of pajamas. The sleeves will be like this for me because apparently I've got very long arms, but these are like long and cozy and snuggly, so that's super nice. So this book, the English title of this is Stolen. I am 75 pages in, so about that way. Like I said, it is set in the north of Sweden, in a small village above the Arctic Circle, and it's set in winter, but it means there's a very limited amount of daylight. So yeah, it starts when this 9-year-old girl is skiing to her family's reindeer herd, because she kind of wants to help her family out and wants to show them that she's big enough to like feed the reindeer on her own. But then she comes there and she witnesses a man killing one of her own reindeer, and the man sees her and he makes like a signal to her. So she gets very scared and she doesn't want to admit to her parents that she saw this man, because she's obviously afraid that he's gonna hurt her. So that is like the first scene of the book, and then it continues in that aftermath. Our protagonist, she is a Sami girl, who are like the indigenous people of northern Scandinavia, and in like that first part of the book we learn a lot about how the Sami people are viewed in their village or in their community. There's a lot of tension between Sami people and the non-Sami people, the Swedish people. The people of the village will say that the Sami don't have their reindeer under control and therefore cause a lot of road accidents, and also like when they go to the police to report that their reindeer was killed by someone, they're not really believed, and it's kind of swept under the rug, and you know, nobody really pays attention to it. So that's kind of where this book is going. It is very much set in like cold climate, which I love reading about. It's very seasonal. There's a lot of talk about snow and you know, getting outside in the snow and dressing warm and you know, going about on snow scooters or skis. I also like learning a bit about the Sami culture and like the role that the reindeer play for them in their culture. So yeah, I like this combination of like a sort of mystery, winter mystery, and also just learning a bit more about an indigenous culture and their values, I guess. So yeah, really enjoying this one. And then I also read the first chapter of The World's Worst Parents. These are basically like short stories. Every story is about a parent. The first one is Peter Pong, the dad with the stinkiest feet in the world. This was incredibly disgusting and also really funny. I totally get why kids would love this, but there's also like some jokes hidden in there that adults will enjoy. Like this story is kind of based on cooking shows like The Great British Bake Off. I'll read you 2 quotes that made me giggle. So the first one is, Cook Off, which is the show they're talking about. Cook Off had 2 judges. The first was Bobby Bollywood, the owner of a famous Indian restaurant called the Taj Mahal 2. Bobby thought he was way cooler than he actually was. And the second was an elderly lady and expert cook, Dame Penelope Plum. She was so posh, she made the Queen look common. Guess who that is based on? And then another bit I thought was really funny. When they were announcing the winner of the show. The winner of Cook Off this year, he began, And Cook of Cooks is Then he left a pause so long you could read the whole of the Lord of the Rings while waiting for it to finish. So yeah, I thought it was funny. I'm not sure if I, read the entire book, but I definitely love to read a couple of more of these stories because the first one made me laugh. So I'm gonna read a little bit more and then it's almost lunchtime. So we obviously cannot have a Vlogmas inspired day without having birds, beans on toast, right? So got my beans here. Gonna put the hob on 7. And then the first thing Bert did was add a little bit of canned tomato. I don't have that, so I'm gonna put in a little squirt of tomato puree. Just a little bit. And then he also had molasses. Now, molasses are kind of hard to come by in the Netherlands, but we do have appelstroop, which is obviously hob on 7 is a bit too much here, so I'm going to put on 6 so we don't actually burn beans. Anyway, blah, we've got this appelstroop, which I think is made in the same way as molasses with like sugar beets, but it also has apples in them, so it's kind of like between molasses and I guess like an apple jelly kind of thing. So it looks like this, and it's really sweet and a little bit tart as well, so I think that will go really well. Also contains a lot of iron, so yeah, there we go. Gonna have a nice dollop of that in there. Yum yum. That's delicious. Alright, give that a little stir. Yeah, that's already looking delicious. Okay, what else? He added a little nutritional yeast. So just add some of that in there. That's gonna be tasty. We need some Italian herbs. I don't have Italian herbs, so I'm just gonna use some oregano. Bit of that, and then curcuma or turmeric in English. Tiny bit of that. Toaster scared me half to death. Yeah, this is looking really tasty. I got some like fancy white sourdough bread. Good, because it is Christmas after all. Okay, that's looking good. I think I did everything Bert did. That's what it looks like now. Super delicious. I'm gonna put it in a bowl because I do not like it when like my food touches each other. And then he sprinkled some seeds on it, but I have this, which is basically savory granola. So yeah, it's like nuts and seeds and oats with some spices and I can't remember what else, but you know, you bake it in the oven like granola, and it's great to put on a lot of things. So I'm gonna sprinkle some of that on for a bit of crunch. And there we have it. Pretty delicious lunch. So I just spent about an hour decorating my planner. So I got a planner this year, which I haven't had for ages, but I really wanted to get one for next year just because I've been feeling very unorganized and not very much on top of things. So I thought a planner would help with that. So first I thought this was going to be like only functional and you know, just a place to like put down appointments and plan things and, you know, all that kind of stuff. But then I quickly figured I wanted to make it like a creative space as well. I always love like pretty things, like nice paper, stickers. You know, I have this whole box of like paper cutouts for magazines, you know, that I keep just in case. And lately I've really wanted to start using these papers and not, you know, save them for a special place or something, you know, some sort of special occasion. So yeah, I've been just making this planner a thing that will cheer me up every time I look into it. So I thought I'd show you a little bit of what I've done today. I covered the front and back inside flat, so at the back I've got this pattern, and then at the front I've got this like flower painting. There's also a 365-day check of sheet at the back. This is Hope in 2 weeks, by the way. So it has 365 circles you can color in, and I thought I would make this like a read every day challenge, and then I've got a little color code thing. So if I read like between 1 and 25 pages, I'll color it this color, and then 26 to 50 this color, etc., until like over 150 pages. So I hope at the end of the year this will be completely colored in. And then last I did today was do the title page, which ended up looking like this, which I'm very happy about. I got this cheer quote right at the beginning, which I thought was fitting. Like I said, I want this to be a place of happiness. I'm really happy how this ended up, because it just looks cheerful and colorful, and yeah, I like it. Hello, welcome back to the kitchen. It is the place to be today. I'm gonna make a hot chocolate, and I thought I'd show you how I make mine. So first you get your chocolate flavored milk. I use this one, Chocomel. I don't know if you can get it in other countries, although I remember I went to Wetherspoons in London about 10 years ago, and I saw they had this behind the counter, and I saw they used it to make hot chocolate, but you can also drink it cold, so I asked for like a cold chocolate milk, and they looked at me like I was crazy. They asked if I wanted to have whipped cream with it, but I didn't get my cold chocolate milk. So yeah, that is my story about sugar. Gotta shake it a little bit. So you heat it up on the stove, preferably without spilling, like I did. Let me just wipe that up for you. There we go. Hob on 6, maybe turn it up to 7 in a minute. So yeah, just heat it up. I always like to add a little bit of extra cocoa powder. Mine is in this tin. It's not from this brand, but I do think that you should use proper cocoa powder, not like chocolate milk powder. So yeah, it's nice and dark and chocolatey, just to give it that little bit of extra chocolate kick. I'm gonna put about a teaspoon of that in there. Whisk that around, make sure you get no lumps. And then what I do as well, which is my secret ingredient, is add a little bit of this. This is Biscoff spread, but just supermarket brand. If you add like a dollop of it in your hot chocolate, it won't taste like Biscoff a lot, but it will kind of serve as a thickening agent. So your hot chocolate will get really nice and creamy, which is obviously delicious. Whisk, 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 whisk. Okay, now let's see if I can pour this in without making a complete ass of myself. There we go. Doesn't that look delicious? There we go. Add whipped cream if you like some. I do lots of it. And there you have it. Delicious hot chocolate. So I'm actually filming this a few days later. I started feeling quite anxious as the day went on, and very sad and very upset about the situation, the genocide that is happening in Gaza right now. I actually filmed a clip that day, but it didn't really feel right to show that. But it is something that I wanted to address. I haven't talked about Palestine on my channel before, and I've come to realize that that is a mistake. I should have talked about it sooner, but I didn't, and I regret that. So I did want to talk about it now, because I feel that my reasons for not talking about it sooner is something that probably a lot of people will recognize, because I do believe that most people who are not talking about Gaza are not doing so because they are supporting Israel, but they just don't know how to do it. I mainly talk about the reasons why I haven't spoken out before, and why I choose to do so now. I've written down a couple of reasons that stopped me about talking about the situation in Palestine before. So the first one being that the situation is too complex. And to this I say yes and no. The Palestine-Israeli conflict has a long history with a lot of different elements that play a part in that conflict, and I don't think you should disregard that history and simplify it. But the fact that what is happening now is a genocide, it is a group of people being systematically destroyed under the pretense of self-defense, that is clear as day. I don't think you have to understand why something is happening or how it is happening to recognize that it is happening. That kind of leads me to my second reason, which was I don't feel intelligent enough or eloquent enough to talk about it. There are always people who are very clear in talking about topics like this. They are very structured, they seem to have a lot of insight and knowledge about it, a very deep understanding of the topic, and I don't think I have those qualities. But I don't think you need to be eloquent to say these things. You don't need to be eloquent to say ceasefire now, stop the genocide of Palestinian people, hold Israel accountable for its crimes against humanity. So the third thing is that I thought that me talking about it will make a difference, which I realize now is probably the stupidest reason. I vote in every election. I always believe my vote counts. I never think it will make a difference. I think even if I would convince one other person to speak out as well, I would have made a difference. You know, there's nearly 30,000 Gazans that have been killed in this war, who don't have a voice anymore. They cannot speak for themselves. So we need to make sure that we do. Number 4 was, isn't it better to do things like donate money or write to my government, boycott certain companies? And yes, I think that's very important, but it's not an either or situation. Speaking out is important because the more people who speak out, the less we can be ignored. It shows Palestinians that we have not forgotten about them and that their lives matter to us. Reason number 5 was that it feels wrong or inappropriate to discuss Gaza one moment and then books or anything else for that matter the next moment. This is a war we are all witnessing on social media. I can literally have the sound of a child screaming and sounds of bombs falling in a device in the palm of my hand. Put my phone down and then think, you know, right, what's for dinner? Which is something that feels really horrible. It's something I struggle with. I don't have any advice on the right way to deal with it. But it feeling uncomfortable is not a reason to not talk about it. And it also doesn't mean that we can't talk about things that give us joy anymore. I think these things can sit side by side. In real life, grief and joy will sit side by side. And I think that's okay. And then lastly, one thing I've heard different people say on their channels is that they want to keep it a safe space. Now that has never been a reason for me personally. I think people who watch my content can decide for themselves if they wanted to see it or not. And if I discuss something that they find triggering or upsetting, they can just turn it off. We are in the incredibly privileged position to be able to turn away, you know, to switch off our televisions, our devices, if we have to protect our own mental well-being. And I think you should absolutely do that. But there is one thing I have realized about this, and that is that not talking about it might make it feel like an unsafe place for people. Because if you don't speak out, people won't know where you stand on a topic, and that can feel unsafe as well. Because you might think it is obvious to other people where you stand, but it isn't, because we cannot read minds. So unless you actually say it out loud, you can never be sure. So yeah, I'll say it one more time. I stand with Palestine. I want the genocide to stop. I want a ceasefire, and I want Israel to be held accountable for its crimes against humanity. So yeah, that's all I want to say for now. I do have to thank Charlotte of Bookish Mama Blooms for calling us out, and for holding us accountable. Like I said, speaking up now is shamefully late, and too late for a lot of Gazans, but it doesn't mean that we shouldn't. I don't know how to transition from this to my outro. Like I said, it feels uncomfortable and inappropriate, so I'll just move on to the next bit. Yeah, I hope you enjoyed this video. I did have a really great time picking my favorite things from Vlogmas. I had a really lovely day, for the most part. And I guess this is also a way to say thank you for those who have made all those daily Vlogmas videos today, and have given me so much joy and respite during the month. Thank you so much for watching. If you have any thoughts about anything at all, please do leave a comment down below. I should probably suggest an emoji right now, because that's the thing to do. Let's do the peace stuff. Okay, Happy New Year. Bye bye.